Hello, my friends. We are going to start with a plain red heart that will dry, and then we will pipe on some designs onto the top of the heart once it's all dried up. I'm going to start by clipping the tip of my bag to give me not very large, but not too small of a piping line. And you can test that on a paper. Make sure that it's open wide enough though. If you drop down and then lift up, you can see if that's a good size for you, which is pretty good. Might need it just a little bit bigger later, but it is pretty nice right now. So I'll go ahead and get started. Just need to pick a point to outline, drop down your frosting, squeeze, come up. It'll make a straighter line. If you lift up and let it fall down, if you get too close to the cookie, it will get too wiggly. That's a good place to anchor it. And then you'll create another anchor line. Anchor for the frosting, lift the icing bag, and just kind of pull it where you want to go. All the while you're squeezing the frosting slightly. And then once you finish the line, you anchor it back down. Now I need to fill my cookie. This requires a lot more pressure, and we've got to work quickly because it's a pretty big cookie, and we don't want to have a lot of lines left over. So when you flood, you just get pretty close to that outline. You can leave some space and we'll fill it in later. But we're squeezing all the while to go around. And I'm just going to go back over to do it again. Squeezing pretty hard. You don't have to be perfect here. You're just trying to fill in the cookie pretty quickly. And then we'll go back and fix what doesn't get filled in, either with the tip of the bag like this, just kind of squiggle in, or we can go and use our stick and drag it in toward the outlining edge. This gap won't seal up itself, so you have to work it together. Once that's ready to go, we can do the other side. Just filling in the cookie again. Working quickly so that we don't have any parts of the cookie dry before the other, because we still need to kind of shake this cookie to get all of the frosting to settle in flat. So we're going to clean up now that we filled it, we're going to clean up the little edges and the holes that have been created here. We don't need to be too perfect about it, but we do need to make sure that these holes have been sealed up by just kind of wiggling them out. The next thing that we're going to do is, now that there's no holes, so you can't see any holes on the cookie, I'm going to put my bag into my wet paper towel so it doesn't get dried out, and then I can pick up my cookie and I can kind of shake it. I need to be gentle because I don't want to break the cookie. I can also pat it down You can tap it lightly on your table, but again, you don't want to break the cookie. And then shake, 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 and it will make that frosting just kind of get flattened out. There are still some that's peeking out a little bit, so we can take either the stick, or I actually have something that I pop bubbles with, or you can just take the stick and get it lightly wet, just dampen it with the wet paper towel and pop those back down. There's just kind of some of the frosting standing up on my cookie. If you have tracks left, you'll want to kind of tap it back down. Just get it, again, a little wet with the wash, or not the washcloth, but the wet paper towel. And tap, 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 and it'll go down. You'll also want to be looking at the cookie for bubbles that form. So if a bubble comes to the surface, you'll see it. This is a bubble right here. It kind of looks like a little black speck. And I just need to kind of tear it open a little bit and then wiggle to close it back up, and just kind of pressing it back down in so I don't have a big dot of frosting coming back up. Some of this is already kind of dried, because it does dry fast here in this desert-like air. So the quicker you can work, the better. It doesn't always come out perfect, and it's okay. You can hide a lot of the top parts of the frosting with some designs over top, so just get it as close as you can to what you're happy with, and then we'll add our design on the top later, which will cover up some of the imperfections here. And I'm just going to give it a little shake again, just to make sure I've got most everything settled. And then that's it. That's a flooded cookie, outlined and flooded. And we're going to let it dry so that we can add some lacy kind of lines on it later after we've done our other cookies. So I'm going to set this aside and grab my next one.